More jobs done faster, but you've got to look at your capacity planner to see if the current resource mix is right, if you can deliver the budget that you've got, and if you can and you still feel like you need to hire, you've got to look at your processes. Where are things going wrong? What are the productivity KPIs of your team and are they meeting them? Or the budget and capacity planner will tell you very obviously that you definitely need to hire. In fact, you might need to be looking at hiring 2 people in the next 6 months. And it's how you make that unemotional decision on when to hire and which role to hire. Further into that, though, also comes the importance of the owner's quad activities, because you may think that you need to hire a grinder straight away, but perhaps you still have a lot of client contact and you're still navigating a lot of those relationships. You might want to look at developing an assistant client manager sooner than you had initially thought. Or you might be doing really well and it is a grinder, or it could even be an admin team member that you need to take the load off. And that's the beauty of the flexibility within it. And I was actually chatting to a firm owner yesterday in fact, I was talking to his assistant because he didn't even make it to our call on time because his life and calendar is such chaos. And it's looking at what do you actually need from your business? What kind of team member do you need to take the load off? And you've got to know where your time is being spent to be able to know what role you need to be filling first. And he's been looking for a long time for an onshore team member, but he's got no offshore team. So, well, my experience, it's quicker to find an offshore person and you will need those resources in your team. So he's going to start looking at that. I'll send him your way soon, Danny, and then he'll continue looking for that onshore. So it's also about timing and off the back of the capacity planner, having a clear cash flow forecast to know when to pull the lever and what impact it'll have on your business. So it's definitely they're the foundational things to do before rushing into an ad or rushing in to say, no, we can do it. Get the facts, do the fact finding first.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Christy. Roll, if I can just call on you, because I'm sure there would be people who are like, I don't know how to do the capacity planner in the sense of like, is this going to take too long, or how do I actually do it, or whatever it is. You obviously know how to do the capacity planner role. You teach people how to do it. Can you maybe just explain how easy it is, like how user-friendly the capacity planner actually is?
Yeah, it's actually really, really easy. And the good thing about this, as Christy mentioned before, it's like the visualization of the capacity, because at least with a couple of clients that I have speak with, they have realized that sometimes they have like too much employees, some of them that they don't need in, and other times it's been completely the opposite. They feel like their team members are extremely free with their time, and the reality it's not. Like they're extremely busy and people are struggling to complete it. So yeah, I really consider like it's extremely, extremely important.
The things I love about the ease of the capacity planner in the Wize Hub is how simple it is to create a copy and do scenario planning as well. So that's the great thing where you can look at, if you hire for this role, what does it do to the capacity? If you hire for this role, if you hire these people. And my favorite feature that the newest iteration of the capacity planner has is you can set a start and finish date for a team member. So when you're growing and you want to add someone in halfway through the year, you no longer have to be cute and fiddle with things in their team member setup. You can just put in their start date in the capacity planner and it'll show you what uptake you can do at a certain hiring point, and also at a certain point of dropping someone off. Yeah, it's got so much functionality.
Yeah, here we're gonna have just a really fast overview on what this is. So this is basically the plan that we will be following for this financial year. So we will be preparing this for different financial years. And this is what we're expecting based on the growth that we're expecting, how much fees we lose, how much fees we want. And this is in a particular thing that I consider also super important, because all the business have different rhythms. And here we will be reviewing that. Once we have the plan, the numbers and everything, then we added the people. That will be the preparation. In this specific case, with the team in, as you can see, our budget, it's bigger than our capacity. So this means that we don't have the right amount of employees to cover this budget. The budget, it's including growth and all the information, like the increase of the CPI. So it's a factor that we need to consider. But yeah, see, in this scenario, probably the short goal will be to hiring at least a person. Yeah, and the opposite case will be here in the team increase. This is also another thing. This is CPR per teams. So it is the plan per team because we will be reviewing them individually. So see, this is the opposite. So we have more capacity than the budget. So here the plan is completely different. And yeah. So if you would like to just review it more, and we can go extremely deep with this, and this can take us super long. The thing that Christy mentioned before is this, that we can adjust exact time that the people will be participating for the budgets and capacity. And this will help us to measure and specific like house or year and what to expect with every single like movement on that.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, so this is now my pleasure.
Yeah. So you can see it's really user-friendly and it's easy to do. You just have to obviously make the time as Jamie and all the mentors say, you've got to work on your business, not in your business. And this is one of those times where you really have to work on your business when you're doing the capacity planner. Okay, so moving on to step number 2. So it's define must-have criteria early. That's obviously really important. And we did touch on it earlier to make sure, who you're actually going to hire. Like if you're hiring a grinder, do they need to be local, or can you hire someone offshore, someone who knows if it's, tax, for example, they need to know obviously how to do income tax returns on all the way up to like Division 7A and all of that, but just making sure you actually define the actual position that you need them, the key tasks. But when you're actually creating the job description, this is the fine line where you obviously want to tell people what they are going to be doing, but you don't want to go into so much detail that you overwhelm them and they're like, well, I can't do all of this, even though it could be something that you'd prefer them to have, like a specific skill or a specific software that you'd prefer them to have that sort of knowledge, but it's not 100% necessary. Sometimes it's best leaving that information off because you don't want to scare them, because it's something that you can teach them in a couple of weeks. Hopefully that makes sense, because I feel like I've just sort of jumped from one thing to another. But yeah, so that's the next point. And then the final point with this section is set clear timelines for each stage. This can be a little bit tricky at times because you can't control everything in terms of the hiring process, but you can have a rough idea. And this we'll go into more of this later. But basically, don't start the hiring process when you're desperate, because because you will make the wrong decisions. You'll start picking, you'll start going, oh, okay, yeah, this person's okay, when really they're not. And Christy, I know you've sort of been in this situation before.
You've stopped me from being that person to just hire anyone, Danny.
Because they might be fine for the first few months, but then, you start seeing the little things that can basically ruin your business.